Welcome to another episode of the Philosophy of Chillin. My name is Dunlap the Connect, or you can just call me Dunlap. Um, we're here for another episode. Honestly, I'm gonna be real truthful right now. As these episodes go along, these topics are honestly ones that I'm just trying to get spiritual deposits on, because I don't know what topics I need to discuss um, to understand how to apply the philosophy of chilling. So, with that being said, we're just gonna start off with the first topic that I guess it would be something that I'm known for, um, which is my business mindset or my business intellect. So today we're gonna talk about business, like how do you apply the philosophy of chilling to the world of business? Or more importantly, the question at least that I'm trying to answer today is how do how do you operate in business or in the business industry with the philosophy of chilling? Um this is a very complex question because business in itself is complex. Um I guess how did I well I guess I can start with first answering the question of how did I begin to be known for my business professionalism. And honestly, a lot of that is credited to my mother. She is still very active in the community to this day. So whenever she was somewhere, I was right there with her, and my mom has done that for all of her children. So because I was always with her, I was always exposed to business etiquette, business professionalism, the skills needed to be effective within a business role or leadership role. So from constantly being around that and also having my own vision for where I want to be in life, it was just like, okay, what's the biggest priority for me to understand in order to move in general? Business. And that's kind of like how I look at it because in my mind or the way I see business is business is like a common ground, right? You don't have to like nobody, you don't have to trust them, whatever, however you want to feel. But business is literally the manifestation or the actualization of somebody's word and intentions. Like, to me, when I think of business, I try to embody who I am as a person in everything that I do. So if I want to make sure that I'm trying to be the most fair to an individual I'm working with, I'm going to make sure whenever we do contracts, whenever we collaborate, whenever we talk, I'm trying to be as transparent as as I possibly can in regards to when work is going to actually be done, when you can expect a turnaround from the effects of the work, and also, just to be able to communicate different perspectives as well to the team in the midst of trying to accomplish things. So, all in all, how do I operate in business, or how does one operate in business with the philosophy of chilling? You honestly have to first start with your intention. What are you trying to gain from the business in general? Because literally, business is just the documentation of what you're supposed to actually do. So the business of being an artist or being a creative or being a professional, what are you trying to gain out of it? Are you genuinely trying to be an artist because you have a song stuck in your head, stuck in your body, and you're just trying to get it out of you, and because you got it out of you and you did everything you were supposed to do to perfect your talent and your skill, now you're in this space where you're gaining, all this support and things of that sort, was that your intention all along to just, sing from your heart or sing what was on your mind? Or was it to have those people and have those supporters from the get go, regardless of what you did to create the content that generated their attention or that um, uh, entertained them or drew them to you? You know what I'm saying? So, like, at least when I think about how I want to do business, I always have the intention to be the best help that I can be as long as I am supposed to be there. Because I'm not gonna lie, I've experienced starting projects where it's been, I'm there, I'm active, whatever, whatever. But then let's say I'm called to do something else, I'm like, oh shoot, I have to leave. I want to make sure when it is time for me to go, I at least left it better than what it was before, or in or just uplifted the energy of the room while I was there. Um, so that's my intention, and I think about that very. I think that's probably like my first priority when I think about if or when I want to do business with somebody else or collaborate with somebody else. What's your intention behind what you're doing? Are you just trying to get clout? Like, are you just trying to get it how you can? And if that's the case, that's cool. And I'll mess with you and I'll listen to you and I'll understand why and what you're doing for yourself to elevate. But I wouldn't necessarily want to work with you, to be quite honest, because if you're constantly just trying to do what you have to, where is the personality in what you're producing? Like, where's you? Because at a certain point, let's say you make it big and you just did what you had to do to get there. Well, when you make it big, or when you scale in general in life, every time you get more of something, you have to make more of something. You have to put more energy into something. Let's say you get a raise or you get a better position at a job. Well, yeah, you get a better position, but it comes with something else too to add on to what you were dealing with beforehand. So if you're doing anything and everything and you're just trying to get money and that's just your intention, like, what's going to make me the most money? I don't care what I have to do. I don't care who I have to mess over, whatever, so forth, so have you. This is the end goal and this is what I'm trying to accomplish. And yes, again, there are different like layers of each situation because every point can be argued. But at the end of the day, like, what is your genuine intention? And if it's not in alignment with the people around you in the business world and in what I've experienced, it just never works out in some way, shape, or form. Which is why it's really important, at least for me, to understand what is the intention of the person that I'm about to do business with. Like, what are their limits? Like, if all else goes wrong, how are they going to respond when it's going wrong? And that intention shows a lot, tells you a lot about that. Which is another point that I was trying to make, and I hope I did, was when you operate in business, you always want to and if you're trying to apply the philosophy of chilling, you're going to come across situations in business where you can literally see how somebody thinks being played out through a project that they're trying to execute, or how they respond to the pressure of a situation where they have to produce resources or show up to advocate for so forth, so have you. And at least what I try to do is try to be aware of that reflection. Like, just the same as the thing, just as what I was saying when it came to intention, if you're going to operate in business, you have to be able to own up to your word. So if somebody tells you, um, let's say I'm doing this community service, but I'm only doing this community service so that I can have the appropriate engagement to apply for XYZ ABC. Okay, I mean that's cool and all, and everyone needs volunteers, but that's literally showing me a reflection of how you're looking at this opportunity. And granted, everyone has an end goal, everyone has their intentions, but if you're not genuinely showing up to contribute to that space, think about what you're taking away, not just from yourself, but from the people around you. And that's fine and dandy. And at the end of the day, you're still going to do your volunteering. It's still going to, be photos taken and everything else. But in that brief moment, whether you say a statement like that out loud or not, that's literally showing the reflection of, okay, you didn't think this time was being spent effectively in building your, you know, personal interactions with people, or understanding, different scenarios and the different aspects and livelihoods that people lived, and how they've been affected by, their matriculation in life. You just trying to get a piece of paper, son. You know what I'm saying? Like that all of that is important in business. So when it comes to how you operate, understanding and being aware of that information, it's all in all representing markers of how do you move forward as a person when interacting with other people. And or at least how I use the philosophy of chilling, because when you make a business deal, you have to own up to that commitment regardless. That's the whole point of the game. Let me write it on paper, so when everything is in disarray, I can at least revert back to this to make sure we stay on the same page. You know what I'm saying? So if you don't have that balance to be able to say, okay, this is what I signed up for, and these are the people who I signed up with, or who I signed up to do it with. I have to understand what I am willing to do and at what extremity. Because on one side, I can achieve my goal or make every plan tactically in a business strategy with ROIs, knowing all of the data analytical metrics for you to build it yourself. But on the other spectrum, it's like, okay, but when it gets to a point of scale, I have to be able to identify who I actually want to move forward with, so that my momentum isn't tampered with. Because the foundation of what you build within business starts from you. So if your foundation stems from you, then you have to have that balance to be able to decipher, all right, this person might be a good opportunity for me to network with, but on the other side of the spectrum, I still have questions regarding how they actually uphold their word, how they actually move. Or I haven't, or because I'm so excited because of this opportunity, I just want to go ahead and go. But instead, there just needs to be that space and time where I actually evaluate my questions, which is how I apply the philosophy of chilling with how I operate. It gives me that time to sit back and, oh my God, this is a great opportunity. Somebody just said they want to do this, want to do that, want to do this. But hold on. How do they handle their responsibilities? How do they communicate? How do what are they representing? If Are they a company, or are they um building the foundation of a brand, or are they an established brand already? You know what I'm saying? Like, what is it that I need to be aware of before I commit to moving forward? And that's what the philosophy of chilling helps pull out in the business world because it allows for you to take a break and ask that question and understand the context of what you're actually doing and signing up for, which is honestly the most important piece because in business you have to read. Like, even if you have to use the software, the app, the website, the subscription, even if you have to use it anyway, at least read it just so you can understand, okay, if anything happens, this is what they're going to fall back on. Okay, so now I can understand what I can and cannot, or what I'm up against if XYZ ABC takes place. And I guess that's the most important piece because even if you don't know the situation fully until you're actually in it, at least before you go into it, you can confirm with yourself, hey, I made sure that this box was checked off, this box was checked off, this box was checked off before I decided to go forward with this opportunity. Now, the fact that I'm in this opportunity, the fact that maybe the operations isn't very organized and it's causing me chaos or it's causing me anxiety and discomfort. But because I took the time beforehand to make sure that this is actually something that I wanted to do that's in alignment with me, in the middle of all this chaos and everything else that's going on, I'm really chilling because y'all tripping. But in business, it's not about the emotions of the other person. It's about the commitment of what you said you were going to do. And yes, it is about the individuals when you're a leader and you need to be able to facilitate, communicate, and get people on the same page so that things can still be accomplished amongst the team. But when it comes to just business in general, each individual has a responsibility to step outside of the team and say, hey, look, am I really going to take this personally? And am I really going to get upset, do this, do that? Or am I just going to take a step back, make sure that the things that I'm responsible for are done, completed, or at least in progress to have an update so that my team can understand what I'm dealing with. Then from that point, be able to say, okay, this is making me upset because in order for me to do the work that I need to do at the standard and level of quality and efficiency that you're expecting, I need you to be able to communicate XYZ in this format or utilizing, these tools so that I can understand better. And that's honestly how the philosophy of chilling also allows for relationships to be uh, uh, an important priority within the world of business or within how you operate in business because it allows you to have that conversation. Yeah, you can get upset. You can say so and so tripping, da 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 da. But if you genuinely approach it from the aspect of, okay, am I coming from the place of holding myself accountable for whatever, even if you don't have a direct role that caused or affected the situation at hand, it can still just be, okay, where is my place in this situation? Okay, so maybe it's not just dealing with me. So instead of me reacting to how everybody else is reacting, let me just observe the situation, understand what's going on, and then evaluate how I can be the best help to mitigate, resolve, and strengthen the team so that we can move forward. Because regardless, one thing about business that really is in alignment with how I've naturally been able, how I've naturally shown up in life is the fact that business keeps going. Like, everyone in every um, aspect of life, no matter if it's personal, spiritual, um, personal, spiritual, or emotional, man, there will always be an instance where someone experiences a scenario where they understand the cliche or the phrase "life keeps going on." Like people gonna move forward in life. Whether you time gonna keep moving forward, and really, to me, at least from the aspect of business, it's not the fact that life is just moving on and not caring about whatever it is you're going through as a person. It really typically it boils down to the fact that one, they don't know about the situation. Like there's billions of people in the world. They don't know that you're going through this because even though you may be in their vicinity or in their like career, patterns and in their communities in that regard, there's still a completely different aspect of what's going on in the real world versus what's going on in somebody's head. So yeah, they might be around you. They might physically be there, but mentally, maybe not. So they probably don't even know for real. You might have even told them, but because of what they were going through in their life, they probably didn't even register, didn't even know that you said whatever it is you said. So it really, maybe someone doesn't know about it. Um, and then one thing I've grown to understand is the fact that everyone is literally living their or trying to achieve the vision that they have for their life. So think about when you focus on your passion project, what happens? A friend hits you up and be like, I heard from you, da, 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 da. Or yo, you just been at the house, you know what I'm saying, or whatever have you. Now imagine that being multiplied by a billion. Everybody is doing it. So because everybody is going after or in their own journey of life, there might be a chance that your journey and their journey, although you might want to be in alignment with them, it might be going in two different directions. And there's nothing wrong with that. So yeah, you might want them to show up or do this or vocalize what have you, or recognize what you're going through and everything else. But there's also a certain point where you have to acknowledge, maybe I do have to experience this myself. And business is one industry and one aspect of a collective acknowledgement where if somebody said you do something, you better believe if there's not a direct effect to the person who is helping to get it done, it's still in the process of getting done. Because imagine if nobody wasn't. How would there be innovation, creation, and sustainment of any type of ecosystem? Not just business, but any of it. Health, politics, sports, um, even just your family in general. Let's say take the business out of it. The principles of business can be applied in so many other things. So basically, how do you operate in it? You take a step back and you think through it. That's how the philosophy of chilling is applied to it. Because there are so many factors that play into how relationships are generated, how they evolve, the context of how decisions are made, because sometimes somebody is making a decision on the forefront, but you don't know what's going on the back end as to why they're choosing to move forward in that way. So when you try to figure out how to operate in this extremely big realm of not necessarily puppeteering, but politicking, you feel me? It's like it gives you a perspective on how to look at what's happening externally or internally within a company, externally from your own mind, if that makes sense. I hope that does. Because essentially you have to pay attention to, just like in life, it's literally a mirror reflection. You have to pay attention to who you're around, to the context of the people that you're working with. I mean, not the context, the intention behind the people that you're working with. Be aware of the reflection that that intention portrays of their mind, and be able to balance between not knowing the context of why decisions are being made versus understanding the fact that something does have to get done, because this is a commitment world. If you are saying you're going to coach me, you're making a commitment to coach me through the ups, the downs, and everything else. So in order to get through the guaranteed pushes and pulls, ups and downs of being able to collaborate with people, so forth and so on, business is like that level ground that's like, hey, look, I understand you have this perspective. I understand you have this perspective, but this is what you said you would commit to. So because you said you were going to commit to that, now you have to make this commitment to work out the differences so that we can move forward to create this end result. And in order to move forward to create this end result, you have to be able to deal with the ups, the downs, and everything else, and apply a mindset that helps you mitigate those emotions so that when you wake up in the morning, the money and everything else and all the materials that you need to reflect that you're being successful doing the things that you're doing is actually being generated, retained, and appreciated by not just the people who you're getting it with, but the people who are receiving it as well. Hmm. So, um, all in all, how do you operate in business with the philosophy of chilling? I operate in business by applying the philosophy of chilling to how I understand what opportunities to go after and mitigating my emotions through the guaranteed collaborations that I experience with other people within the world, within the business world. Um, so I hope that makes sense. We're probably gonna run these back in different ways. So hopefully all of these topics I brought up today are gonna show themselves again in another conversation. But with that being said, I know I said a lot, but I'm really just chilling. And I'm also done with the connect. So I'll see y'all for another episode. Peace.